Hi, I'm Jacob Crane. What I'm about to share is something I haven't spoken about in years. It happened when I was 10, in the kind of rural town where everyone knew everyone, where secrets whispered in cornfields never stayed buried for long. I grew up in a small, creaky farmhouse surrounded by fields that stretched endlessly into misty mornings. My parents? Well, let's just say they weren't winning any Parent of the Year awards. My father's belt spoke more often than he did. And my mother? She hid in the shadows of her own silence. But this story isn't about them. It's about the white things. It started one late November afternoon, just as the sun was starting to sink behind the trees, leaving streaks of orange and pink in the cold sky. I was sent outside to get out of the house, code for "stop being in the way." I wandered past the barn and into the thicket where the woods began. The fog rolled in faster than usual that day. It wasn't the light mist we were used to. It was dense, almost suffocating. I was about to head back when I noticed something through the haze. At first, I thought it was a deer, its pale shape moving silently among the trees. But as it turned, I froze. Its eyes weren't normal. They were wide and black, like twin abysses, and its limbs were wrong, too long, bending in unnatural angles. It didn't move like any animal I'd ever seen. It glided, almost floating, and its gaze, it pierced right through me. I should have run. Every instinct in me screamed to turn and bolt, but I couldn't. It was like my feet were rooted in the cold, damp ground. The figure tilted its head, curious, and then, without warning, it disappeared into the fog. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? My parents barely noticed I was alive, let alone cared about what I saw in the woods. But that night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the old house felt amplified. Every shadow on the wall seemed to stretch toward me. Around midnight, I heard it, a soft scratching at the window. My room was on the second floor, so whatever it was couldn't have been a person. Heart pounding, I forced myself to look. There it was, the white thing. Only now I could see it clearly, even in the dark. Its pale skin seemed to glow faintly, and its eyes, those horrible black voids, stared directly into mine. It didn't move. It just stared. I scrambled out of bed, backing against the far wall. "What do you want?" I whispered, my voice shaking. It didn't answer, of course. Instead, it raised one impossibly long finger and pointed toward the hallway. I don't know why I followed. Maybe it was curiosity, or maybe I was too scared to resist. Either way, I opened my door and stepped into the hallway. The fog was inside now, swirling at my feet. I could barely see the faint outline of the creature as it led me toward the stairs. The creaking steps sounded like thunder in the silence. It stopped at the front door, then turned to face me. Slowly, it raised its hand again, this time pointing outside. I hesitated. The cold air from the open door bit into my skin. "I'm not going out there," I said, though my voice barely carried above a whisper. The thing tilted its head again like it was considering something. Then it spoke, not with words, but with images. Flashes of memory, not mine, flooded my mind. A little boy, no older than me, running through the same woods. He was laughing, carefree. Then the laughter stopped. The boy was caught, dragged, hurt. I could feel his fear, his pain. I understood then. The white thing wasn't there to harm me. It was showing me what had happened. I stumbled backward, overwhelmed. "Why? Why are you showing me this?" The white thing didn't respond. It simply turned and walked into the fog, vanishing as silently as it had appeared. The next morning, I couldn't shake the images from my mind. I went back to the woods, retracing the path the boy had taken. That's when I found it, a shallow grave, marked only by a few scattered rocks. I ran to the police, telling them I'd found something weird in the woods. They came, dug it up, and uncovered bones, small, fragile, the remains of a child. The story hit the town like a storm. Turns out a boy had gone missing decades ago, long before I was born. No one ever found him, until now. As for the white thing, I never saw it again. but I felt its presence, especially on foggy mornings. It was like it was watching, waiting, making sure the truth didn't stay buried. And now, every time I see the fog roll in, I wonder, how many other secrets are hidden out there? And how many more white things are waiting to reveal them? Some people say they don't believe in ghosts or spirits. Me, I didn't either, until that November night. Now, I don't question it, because sometimes the dead don't rest until someone listens.